self-respect. New self-respect. I imagine there's not one person sitting in this audience, as well as those who may be joining us via the internet, that doesn't desire to be respected. We all crave respect. We all need respect. And if you're a man, you desire respect on every front. But today we're going to be addressing the topic as it relates to the Ephesians 4 congregation. As you all know, our vision here, our mission, is to become that Ephesians 4 congregation. We're going to continue to press forward, continue to move forward in bringing that vision to fruition. And each and every member needs to understand that they have a part in that vision, that mission of becoming an Ephesians 4 congregation. It was interesting, a couple of weeks ago, I was shopping in the grocery store, and I happened to come across a young lady who had two young children. One of them was probably about 4 or 5, a little boy. And she also had a daughter in the preteen age, probably between 9 and 12. And the reason this woman stuck out to me was because her young boy, her young son, was running up and down the aisle. He was grabbing anything he wanted, kept putting it in the cart. And she kept screaming and telling me, no, don't touch that. No, don't do that. I'm not buying that. But the more she protested, the more he continued to do what he wanted. The more he continued to act according to his own will. He had gotten so used to ignoring his mother's call that I imagine he probably didn't even hear her voice. And it got me thinking about the time when I was young. You know, my thing is I love TV. I love TV. And I would get so engrossed in watching TV that I would tune everything out. And I remember one time I was watching my TV and I was engrossed in what I was doing, and my father had been calling me for some time, but I didn't hear. So my father stepped to me and he made sure that that was the last time that it happened. And to this day, I know my father's voice. And to this day, I respond to my father's voice. I was telling my own son just the other day that you need to respond when I call you. There may be a time when I have to tell you something that might possibly save your life, and you need to hear and respond to my call. No parent desires to bring a child into this world, to take care of a child, to raise and provide everything that child needs, only for that child to disrespect you. No parent. And it got me, I found this interesting quote by Billy Graham. It says, a child who is allowed to be disrespectful to his parents will not have true respect for anyone. For anyone. Put yourself in that mother's position as she continually pressed to try to get this child to behave in a certain way, to act in a certain manner, knowing that her instructions were only to help the child. Imagine how she felt after carrying this child, bearing this child in her body for 9 months, going through the pain of birthing this child, bringing this child into the world, caring for this child for at least 4 to 5 years, and have this child blatantly disrespect. Imagine how she. Now, put yourself in the place of God. Imagine how he feels when his children, who he has provided for, who he has cared for, blessed, has raised up, allowed his own son to die in their place. Imagine how he feels when his children disrespect him. This is a sad sight, but unfortunately, this is the state of the world, and it's also the state of the church today. Many Christians are just like that child. They find themselves ignoring the warning, the call to do better, be better, act better. They've gotten so used to ignoring the call of the Father to the point that they don't even hear it. All of us, everyone here, at some point in time, has contributed to that disrespect of the Holy God. The Bible tells us in Romans 3:23 that all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. All. So at some time, all of us have disrespected an awesome God. All of us have played a part in this disrespect to the call of an awesome God. But thank God for the blood of God. Thank God for Jesus. Because now we have a chance to be redeemed, to be renewed, to be restored, so that we now cannot no longer ignore the call, but respond to the call of the Holy God. I hope you brought your Bibles, because we're going to be looking at some scriptures found in Ephesians chapter 4. Our base text, which Brother Art read for you, he read from the NIV version. Ephesians chapter 4. We've been dealing with this section of scripture for some time now. And I know you're probably saying, when are we going to move on? Here's the thing. Our vision is to become an Ephesians 4 congregation. In order to do that, we must study, we must examine, we must apply the principles that are found in Ephesians chapter 4. Today we're going to be talking about a healthy respect for the calling of God as it relates to an Ephesians 4 congregation. An Ephesians 4 congregation. In Ephesians chapter 4, beginning in verse 13. Beginning in verse 13. Scripture reading. You have that queued up for me?
Until we all reach unity in the faith and in the knowledge of the Son of God and become mature, attaining to the whole measure of the fullness of Christ. Then we will no longer be infants, tossed back and forth by the waves, and blown here and there by every wind of teaching, and by the cunning and craftiness in their deceitful schemes.
Stop right there. In order to understand a healthy respect for the call of God, we've got to understand what a healthy respect looks like. We've got to understand some things that are laid out by Paul here in Ephesians chapter 4. In verse 13, it says, till we all come to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God. In order to have a healthy respect, there must, and I say there must be, first, a healthy relationship. A healthy relationship. Why do you say that? No one, I don't care if you're in the world, if you're in the body of Christ, no one respects someone who they don't know. No one. In order to understand, in order to respond, in order to have this healthy relationship with Christ, we must know Christ intimately, thoroughly. As it says, we must come to the knowledge of the Son, to a perfect man, to the measure of the stature and the fullness of Christ. It's not about what you say. It's not about what somebody else told you. You have to establish a healthy relationship first before you can ever have healthy respect. This is one of the key principles, one of the foundations of a healthy respect. And it's also one of the things that is lacking most in the church. We've gotten to the point where we've become complacent. We've become too in the habit of checking a box, going through routine. A lot of people have gotten to the point that when the preacher speaks, they're sitting there and they're thinking about what they're going to do afterwards. They're not opening their Bible. They're not studying. They're not listening. Not even taking in the message. They're sitting there and they're thinking about the game. Who's playing next? But yet they call themselves Christians. And if you ask them, do they have a healthy respect for Christ? Their answer will be yes. But how can you have a healthy respect for someone you don't know? The world today has a different view of relationships. It's okay not to know someone and still be considered in a relationship. With social media, we have this thing called texting, social dating, emailing, Instagramming, whatever. And I'm not knocking these things. I'm not putting them down. But they allow you to carry on a relationship, a conversation, relationship with people that you don't even know. You've never met. You have no idea who that person is. They don't know you. All you know is what they tell you and show you and present to you. But in order to have that healthy relationship, you have to have intimate knowledge of the person in the relationship. In order to have this relationship with Christ, we have to have intimate knowledge. We cannot just assume Christ. We cannot assume what it means to be a Christian. No one, Christian or otherwise, will respect the person they don't know. Next, this relationship that's forged with Christ is now extended to those who belong to Him. As we put it, our vertical relationship with Christ now establishes a horizontal relationship with those who belong to Christ, meaning my brothers, my sisters. That relationship needs to be cultivated as well. That relationship needs to be a healthy relationship as well. But again, we've gotten in the habit of just coming in on Sunday, greeting each other, saying, I'm doing fine, I'm blessed, too blessed to be stressed, and walking right out. Never having gotten to know our brothers and sisters, never establishing that intimate relationship with our brothers and sisters. Matter of fact, I'll do you one even better. Our relationships with those in the world are stronger than those in the body of Christ. We respect that relationship greater than the relationship we have with our brothers and sisters. I know this is a hard teaching, but as any chef knows, you must taste the food first before you serve it. So I had to receive this first myself. We have to develop and cultivate the relationship not only with Christ, but with one another. It's not a healthy relationship if we do not know our brothers and sisters, if we do not know what our brothers and sisters need, if we do not know where they stand spiritually, if we do not know how we can serve them, because we are brought together for that purpose, to serve one another. Scripture with you if you read verse number 16.
From Him the whole body, joined and held together by every supporting ligament, grows and builds itself up in love, as each part does its work.
From Him, from Christ, whom the whole body is joined and knitted. Brother Hubbard spoke about this last week, about joined, being knitted, that stitch that sews us together. We are connected, and that connection is one that cannot be easily broken. But yet we find ourselves more distant, more separated, more isolated. It's amazing how we can come together and we can be amongst the saints, yet we can be totally alone. And that's because we don't have a healthy relationship. And if our relationship is not healthy concerning our brothers and sisters, then how can we say that our relationship is healthy concerning Christ? I just put that out there for you and let you think about that for a minute. When you look at the world today, many people have gotten comfortable with the social media. Again, I'm not knocking social media, but it's interesting how you can have 300 friends on the internet, and yet none of them know you except for what you post online. And I guarantee you, if you were to die today, not one of them will be at your funeral. At best, you might get that rest in peace emoji. We have to understand that as Christians, a healthy respect, our respect is different from the world. This is where the problem comes in. We begin to try to bring things of the world into the body and expect them to work. And it doesn't. Worldly things cannot combine and work together with spiritual things. It doesn't work that way. Oil and water, it doesn't mix. I've been on this diet now for 5 weeks, and I have to get up every morning and drink a glass of lemon water with flaxseed oil. And do you know, for 5 minutes, I'm sitting there stirring and stirring, and no matter how much I stir, when I stop, that oil is going to rise to the top. It doesn't mix. And it leaves a nasty taste. Yes, it does. But when we consider the relationships of our brothers and sisters in Christ, it leaves a nasty taste in God, because He never intended it to be that. The Bible describes His relationship with the members of the body of Christ as not only intimate, but symbiotic. Symbiotic. We're knitted together, joined and knitted together. from whom the whole body, joined and knitted together by what every joint supplies. Every joint supplies. Let me stop right there for a minute. Every member, every one of you, has something to give. Every one of you has something to supply. Every one of you has something to receive as well. As we are joined and knitted together, this relationship is symbiotic. A symbiotic relationship is where I need you and you need me to survive. We cannot do this without each other. It's not meant to be that way. Where every joint supplies according to the effective working by which every part does its share, causes growth of the body for the edifying of itself in love. Edifying of itself in love. The body of Christ needs what you have to offer. I don't care what you think of it. I don't care how you view it, whether you like it, don't like it, don't agree with what God gave you. I'm pretty sure when we look at Matthew 25 and we see the servants with the talents, the one talent person was like, I wish I had 10. I wish I had the 2 talents at least. Why I got just this one? But the call of God is not for you to complain about it. It's a call for you to use it. With healthy respect. A healthy respect will manifest itself by a positive and a powerful influence. I'm going to rest right here for a minute. Influence. You know that many Christians today, they undervalue the power of their influence. And also, they undervalue the power of the influence that others have on us. I've been teaching now for several years, and I always seem to come back to influence. When I was teaching the teens, I was trying to teach them about the power of influence, power of the choices that they make, of who they choose to surround themselves with, who is in their circle. Influence. When we come together as members of the body, the influence that I have is to impact you in a way that causes the body to grow. The impact that you have, the influence that you have, could impact and cause me to grow as well. The impact that we have when we go outside the church should cause others to come and want to ask, well, what do I have to do to be like you? How do you explain the joy that you have? How do you explain this life that I see in you? Influence must be seen. So I asked the question, what do you want? What type of influence are you seeing? Do you have a type of influence that demonstrates a healthy respect? Or do you have the type of influence that demonstrates the negative? Let's look again at verse number 15. It says, but speaking the truth in love may grow up in all things into him who is the head of Christ. Speaking the truth in love. Speaking the truth in love. A healthy respect for the word of God compels us to speak the truth in love to those who are near. A little over a year or so, we did a series of lessons called Caring Enough to Correct. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. But yet and still, many Christians find it hard to tell their brothers the truth, to speak the truth in love. Let's look at this a little bit deeper. The world today, their idea of respect is don't say nothing. If you respect me, leave me alone. If you respect me, don't correct me. That's not respect. If I care about you, I will correct you. If I care about you, I will point out that you're heading toward the cliff, that your life is in danger. If I care about you, I will tell you the painful, hurtful truth. Because the thing is, the truth is not true. We would like to dress it up that the truth is this beautiful thing that everybody's so happy to receive. And if that was the case, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't have this problem. The truth is a hard pill to swallow, but it's one that everyone, you got to take that medicine. You got to take that medicine. Because when you don't, you're subject to death and destruction. Verse 15 says, but speaking the truth in love, we may what? Grow up in what? All things. Not some, but all things. All things. Into him who is the head. When I speak the truth to you, it's because I want you to grow up. I want you to prosper. I want you to mature. I want you to advance. When a person does not have healthy respect for what does not have a healthy respect, the end result is destructive. If I can't tell you the truth, then I am contributing to your destruction. I am contributing to your downfall. A person who will not tell someone the truth, a Christian who will not tell a brother or sister the truth, is one who either has a weak foundation or no foundation at all. And I say this too, while I'm out here. This type of person has no peace, they have no joy, and they have no regard for your well-being. Speaking the truth in love. This is something that the whole church is lacking. As brothers and sisters in Christ, I don't want to offend anybody. We've been indoctrinated with the idea that our relationship is always a pleasure. But if you know families have fights, downright, get down, dirty, nasty fights, arguments. That's family. But they do it not to harm one another. Sometimes you have to say something, and it's not going to be nice. When we taught the lesson Carrying Up to Correct, we taught that it's not just about you going to someone and correcting them, but it's also the mindset that you have when someone comes to you. When someone comes to you to share with you a truth that they know you don't want to receive, that they know you don't want to hear, but they're courageous enough to bring it to you out of love. That's the end. Christ died on the cross for us. He died so that we would have the relationship that he has with the Father, that we all might be one together. When Paul writes, he speaks of this unity. He speaks of the oneness that we ought to have. He speaks of that intimacy that we ought to have, being knitted and joined together, supplying to one another what we need. We can only do that if we are truthful with one another. If I don't know what you need, I cannot supply that to you. I cannot minister to you. I can't effectively use my gift to serve you. You can't use your gift to serve me if you're hiding something from me, if you're lying to me about the truth. When I was younger, I understood this mindset that this don't tell me the truth. I understood that. I was surrounded by friends. All the type of friends I had, it was like, just tell me what I want to hear. Agree with me. And I imagine a lot of you have friends like that too. The relationship was great as long as we agreed on everything. As long as there's no friction, no conflict, we're fine. A lot of people enter marriages today with that same false concept that marriage is supposed to be great. It's beautiful. You know, that's how they portray it in Hollywood. They're happily ever after. You know, you get married, you say, I love you, and that's the end of it. But a relationship requires work. A healthy relationship requires not only truth, but it requires work. Speaking the truth in love is a hard thing to do, but it's needed because it is that maintenance that will keep the relationship strong. We as Christians need to begin to stand up for the truth, speaking the truth, and depending on the truth. Christ said it this way, I am the way, the truth, and the life. If we will not stand up for the truth, then how can we have a healthy relationship with the truth? Finally, a healthy respect. It motivates us to develop and utilize our spiritual gifts. As I'm serving, ministering to you, supplying the things that you need, I'm exercising, developing, cultivating that which God has placed in me, has bestowed upon me. And likewise, the same for you. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm exercising one of the gifts that God has bestowed upon me, cultivating this gift that I can use it to edify the body, to build up the body. Each one of us has a responsibility to cultivate and develop that which we are given. What kind of church would we be if we had nothing but one tongue church? How can we truly fulfill the purpose of Christ if we have one tongue church? Our gifts were given with a purpose. And that purpose is not selfish. Our gifts are not for ourselves. A tree that bears fruit does not bear fruit for itself, but for others. Our gifts are so that we can minister and supply to others, not ourselves. And when we use our gifts for our own selfish reasons, we misuse and abuse that gift. I said before that everyone has something to supply. We have people, Christians, who think it, well, that's not me. I'm not really good, or I got other priorities right now. I don't want to use my gift. When a Christian fails to utilize their gifts, when they fail to cultivate and develop their gifts, they're robbing the body of Christ. And then that worldly concept of respect, their mindset is that you can't come to me, that I'm not. I'm going to rob you and you're just supposed to accept. You're just supposed to accept. Sit back, don't say nothing. I'll see you again next time. A healthy respect will recognize that there is a responsibility that's placed upon me. That if I fail in my part, I compromise the body and I compromise the whole. I explained that when my wife had her surgery, there were all facets of people connected to her surgery. Not just the people doing the surgery, but the ones supplying the blood, the ones who were supplying the drugs, the anesthesia, the ones who were there, the nurses who were there to take care of the baby, specialists who were coming in to repair the bladder, the people who cleaned up the room before she got there to make sure it was sterile, the people who removed the trash afterwards. Every person had a part, had a purpose. And if one person failed in that purpose, my wife would not be sitting here. This is how crucial it is that we understand that our gifts, our talents are to be used. They're not to be wasted. Christ did not die for us to sit here and look good. Yes, we look good. We look good. But we look even better through the effective of doing what God called us. A healthy respect. I've shown you what that respect looks like. But now let's dig a little bit deeper and let's define. Let's get an understanding of the respect we ought to have. I said before that every person in this room desires to be respected. Growing up, that's all I heard from you and brothers. Don't be different. Don't be disrespectful. For men, it is a God-given need to be respected. It says so in the Bible when it speaks to the wife. It says, wives, see that you respect your husband. I love that respect. But no man will say they do not respect. But I'll take that even further. No person will say. No one wants to be disrespected. Respect is to have a regard. It is to regard something or someone as being worthy of admiration, worthy of love, worthy of praise, worthy of regard. That means to consider, to look at, to hold dear. Respect also means to esteem, to put up, to lift up, to appreciate or show appreciation for, or a sense of worth or excellence of person. It is to demonstrate a high regard, or special attention to someone or something. When you look at definition of respect in the Bible, there's two forms. It can be used to describe person, place, or thing. So when it comes to the healthy respect that we ought to have for God, when it comes to biblical principles, we're not talking about the description. We're talking about the other form, which is a verb. Respect as a verb requires an action. It requires that you do something. If I respect or have a healthy respect for God, for Christ, it will compel me to do something. Not say something, do something. Many people have gotten real comfortable with that. Lip service. They'll tell you everything you want to hear, and you'll walk away thinking that they respect you. But if you truly respect me, do something. Come alongside with me. Come alongside with me as we're supposed to, as we work together, supplying the body with everything that it needs. Don't just say, yes, that was a good thing. Oh, that was a great message. You hear that a lot. Oh, you're teaching. Oh, I just love it when you teach. Did it compel you to do? Did it compel you to respond? Respect requires an action. So now that we've looked at what healthy respect looks like, we've defined what respect is. Now, let's get down. I took you all the way around to bring you back to the text for this. Ephesians chapter 4, and verse number 17. Stick to it if you will. Get that from Ephesians chapter 4, and verse number 17. And if you will, turn with me in your Bible. I want you to see it. I want you to read it for yourself. I want you to see it for yourself. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So I tell you this, and insist on it in the Lord. You must no longer live as the Gentiles do, in the futility of their thinking.
All right, stop right there. A healthy respect for God's calling. A healthy respect for God's calling. We showed you what a healthy respect looks like. Now let's dig into a healthy respect for the calling of God. Paul knew better than anybody what a healthy respect required. Why? Because Paul had the greatest disrespect for God at one point in time. He says in verse number 17 from the New King James Version, it says, "This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that you should no longer walk. The NIV uses the word live. Walk, living. These are what? Verbs. These are things that require an action. These are things that require you to execute. That you should no longer walk as the rest of the Gentiles walk, in the futility of their mind, in the uselessness of their mind, of their thinking, the futility of their thinking. I like how the NIV puts the futility of their thinking. Do you know that one of the hardest things to convince a person if their thinking is wrong you're going to have a fight. Because everything that they see, do, say, even feel, filters through their mind. Just like these glasses. Everything that I see is filtered through these glasses. If it's the wrong prescription, everything I see is going to be in it. It won't be accurate. It won't be right. And the hardest thing to do is to convince someone that their mind, their way of thinking is futile. But Paul says that you should no longer walk as the rest of the Gentiles walk. You should no longer operate. You should no longer respect as the rest of the Gentiles do in a futile way. The definition of respect that the world has is useless. It merits nothing. It builds up nothing. It edifies nothing. It requires no action. It requires only a few words. But in order for this respect to be understood and executed, we have to undergo a change of mind, a change in our attitude, a change in the way that we think. This change causes us to acknowledge the worth and excellence. Worth and excellence. We just saw that a minute ago, right? In our definition of respect. This change of mind causes us to acknowledge the worth and the excellence of his calling. His calling is a great honor. Think about this for one second. God chose you. Out of all the people in the world, God chose you. That's something Judas didn't understand. Christ handpicked his disciples. He chose Judas to walk with him, to learn, to walk with the disciples, with the apostles. He chose him. But as you see, Judas didn't respect Paul. He didn't respect Paul. He didn't recognize the worth and the excellence of the call. Many Christians today can't respond to the call because they do not recognize the worth and the excellence of God. When I saw my gift, that I was humbled. It's a humbling experience. Yeah, there were some things on there that I thought I should have had, that I thought were probably a better fit for me, because of what I like to do. But after I thought about it and I looked at it, I said, God chose me for this reason. He gave me these gifts for a reason. I began to understand the worth and the excellence of his calling. And as such, I began to recognize that these gifts, they were precious. They are. And they are to be used. Paul says that we should no longer walk as the rest of the Gentiles in the futility of our minds. Verse 18 says, having their understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart, having their understanding darkened. They can't see the truth. They can't receive the truth. They don't know the truth, but they think it. Their hearts have been blinded by the ignorance that is within them. That little boy in the grocery store, he couldn't understand purpose for his mother's family. He couldn't understand that there was a reason for her. Children rarely understand why you want them to not play with them. We see it every Sunday. After work, they start running around here, running around living, and you tell them, stop. And they get upset. But they don't understand. I don't want you to fall and get hurt. And we've had that happen. My own son has done that. And I tell him every Sunday. I continue to call to him. I continue to reach out to him to get him to understand, look, there's a reason for this. I know you don't understand it now, but trust me. Have faith in me that I will not lead you astray. But these people, they've been darkened. Their understandings have been darkened. And as a result, they've been alienated from the life of God. A lot of people, when we read the scriptures, they make the mistake of thinking that Paul is talking about people. But these are Christians. Christians. People who have named the name of Christ. People who are members of the body. Their understanding has been darkened. These are the same people that we see over in 2 Timothy 3 and verse 5 through 7. They talked about always learning but never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Having what? A form of godliness, but denying its power. Having a form of godliness. But in actuality, what's happening is they're being disrespectful to the cause. And as a result, they don't even realize that they've been alienated from the life of God. Even though they're right up here every Sunday, every Wednesday, they don't even understand that they have been alienated from the life because they do not see, they do not understand. They do not have respect. That's why we have to undergo this prayer. Your understanding, the way you think, is so very important when it comes to serving a holy God. Consider this. Brother Hubbard showed us an example of transformation. The butterfly. Everybody remember that? You got the cocoon, you got the caterpillar in the cocoon going through the stages and emerges as a butterfly. Consider this. What good would it do to be a butterfly but have the mindset of a caterpillar? What good would it do to be a butterfly but still think like a caterpillar? Have you ever seen a butterfly crawling along the ground, refusing to fly? We laugh, but this is the church today. Many Christians who are supposed to be butterflies are crawling around caterpillars because they refuse to undergo a change of mind, a change of attitude when it comes to the call of God. New self-respect. New self-respect. You cannot have new self-respect unless you yourself have become new. New. Then renewed. Respecting the call of God means understanding that He is worthy of admiration, that His calling deserves special attention. Special attention. A healthy respect for God's calling. We have a healthy respect for God's calling. Something in us, as we undergo this change of mind, change of attitude, something else begins to change in us. Where at one time we couldn't feel, we couldn't understand the call of God. Now we become tender in response. We become sensitive to the call. Look at what Paul says. He says, having their understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their hearts, who, being past feelings. Brother Art, give me that verse from the NIV, verse number 19.
Having lost all sensitivity, they have given themselves over to sensuality so as to indulge in every kind of impurity, and they are full of greed.
Having lost all sensitivity. All sensitivity. Let me put that so you can understand. They become new. And as a result, it says they give themselves over to sensuality. Sensuality. In other words, whatever feels, whatever seems right. Remember, there's a way to man that seems right, but the end thereof is what? Death, destruction. Whatever feels, look around. We're living in that generation. Whatever feels right, that's what we're going to do. And I dare anybody to tell me I'm wrong. That's respect for me. Respect me and don't tell me I'm wrong. But they've lost. They become numb. They become cut off. So when we have a healthy respect for God's song, we become sensitive. We become timid and responsive to Him. I've heard many Christians ask, well, how do I know when God is calling? How do I know, that this is what God wants me to do? If you have a healthy respect for God's calling, you know my chief knows this. This sensitivity that we have, it makes us to the point where we're not only aware of His presence, but we demonstrate. There's that action. It requires that action. We demonstrate a high regard for Him by what? Seeking His will. When we become sensitive to the will of God, when we respect His calling, we don't wait for Him to come to us. We're constantly seeking Him out. He's right here, right now. And if you want to know Him, if you want to see Him, all you have to do is look. If you want to hear Him, turn your ears to His. Listen to your ears to His voice. A lot of times we make this mistake when we pray. When we pray, it's always about what I want, what I need, this and that. Have you ever stopped sometimes to pray and just listen? Listen to what God has. I'm praying for this job. Well, have you listened to God? Maybe He's telling you that's not the job for you. I know that's the one that you want, but that's not the job for you. It's like any parent. I know you want to eat junk food, but no, we're going to eat some real food. I had this conversation with my son multiple times throughout the week. If it were left up to him, McDonald's, chicken nuggets, and hot dogs would be all that he would eat. And when I tell him no, we're going to sit down, you're going to eat some vegetables. Yes, he has that look on. Yeah, I'm telling him today. He has that look. He goes into his little pity party. But I understand that what I'm asking him to do, what I require of him, is for his own good, for his well-being. It's building him up, and the things that he wants for himself will ultimately tear him down. Even the 2-year-old, my 2-year-old Jordan, he wants to say, I don't know where he got this from, but he came up, he's like, I watch Monster Truck. He gets this show on Netflix. I watch Monster Truck. You want to watch Monster? Yeah, all day, all night. All day, all night. Where did you get that from? But if it was left up to him, he would. Poison the mind, poison the soul. This is the mindset of one who does not respect Paul, understand the Paul. We want what we want regardless, and we want God to honor and respect and bless us. We don't want to contribute. We don't want to serve the body. We just want what we want. I want to sit here. I want to just listen and don't talk to me. I don't even want to hug you. I don't want to evangelize. I don't want to teach. I don't want to do this. So when we do that, we not only disrespect the call, but we got a healthy respect for the calling of God. It's proven by our lives becoming saints. You want to see someone who has a healthy respect for the calling of God? You'll see someone that is. Verse number 20. But you have not so learned that. You didn't learn that this way. As he's referring to having the understanding darkened. operating from the futility of your mind. You didn't learn. Brother, give me that verse number 20 from the NIV.
That, however, is not the way of life you have learned. When you heard about Christ and were taught in him in accordance with the truth that is in Jesus, you were taught, with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your mind.
That's right there. You didn't learn something. If you heard him and were taught by him, you understood that something had to change. Something had to take place inside. You understood that there was a call being placed. And when you made that decision to obey the gospel, what you should have been deciding is to respect God. It's not enough just to become part of the body. When you fail to respect the call, when you fail to do, as Paul says, to be knitted together and supply that which you have to offer, you become a dragon. You become a king. I know that's harsh, but I understand. But we're living in a time now where if we can't receive the truth and give the truth in love, then we should be saved. This is the truth that so many people avoid talking. This is the truth that so many people don't want to share with their brothers and sisters, that some of us are becoming a drag. Some of us have, because of their inability, their unwillingness to serve, to grow, to utilize, to develop and cultivate the gifts that God has given to serve the body for the edifying of the body, some of them have become now. If you were diagnosed with cancer right now, what would you do? You will begin to go to get treatment for it, either radiation or cut it off, kill it, get rid of it, get it out the body. But when it comes to the body of Christ, we allow the cancer to run around. We don't say nothing, we don't do nothing. That's the same as a person with cancer saying, no, I'm all right. I'm fine. And that kind of thinking is futile. But Paul tells us we need to change. Something needs to change. It starts with our mindset, the way we think. It starts with our recognizing that God's call is something of worth and it has excellence. And then it starts with understanding, becoming sensitive to listening and seeking out his call. And now it's proven when we give way to the transformative power of the Holy Spirit. He says that if indeed you have heard and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus, there's that truth, that you put off concerning your former conduct the old man which grows corrupt, the old man, the old stuff, that old way. I said before, all of us have sinned and fallen short. All of us have contributed to the disrespect of God. All of us have had that mindset that we look upon people now and say, wow, that was us. So Paul says to put that old man off. Put off that form of conduct. Put him off. Why? That you put off concerning your former conduct the old man which grows corrupt. It grows corrupt. Grows corrupt. It doesn't just stay there. Again, just like a cancer. The more you allow it, that old stuff, old man, the more corrupt he becomes, the more darkened your understanding becomes, the more futile your thinking becomes, the more to the point where you don't even, it's not just about you anymore. You desire, you crave more. You want others to be a part of it. Misery loves company. Put off the old man, which grows corrupt according to the deceit, and be renewed in what? The spirit of your mind. Spirit of your mind. The respect or lack of respect that we have for the calling of God is reflective in the type of life we live. What does your life say? Have you considered, again, this goes back to your interest. Have you considered what your life says about you? Not just who you are here on Sunday, on Wednesday, but who you are every day. What does your life say about you? Does it say that you're a servant of the Most High God? Does it confirm that you have a high regard for the calling of God? Does it confirm that you pay special attention to the gifts and the talents that He's bestowed upon you? Or do you mock? Do you mock? Or do you crucify? Be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Be renewed. And that you put on the new man. It's new man. New stuff. You know, when it comes to material things, everybody likes something new. But oddly enough, when it comes to the body of Christ, people fear the new. We fear the new. We're scared of it. We're scared of what God might be calling us to because we don't want to leave what God is calling us to. We're scared of this new stuff because it's not who we envision ourselves to be. We denounce the calling to be new because we're in love with the old. In the old self, I'm a general. But in the new self, I'm a servant. But I'd rather be a servant of the Lord than a general of the devil. Put on the new man, which is created how? According to God, in true righteousness and holiness. True righteousness and holiness. Stop being in love with this form of godliness and denying its power. So put on this new self that's created true righteousness. Be real. Be 100, as they say. Be real with this. If you don't respect him, don't join up. Don't sign up. We understand that when it comes to teams and, hey, they need to get rid of that person. He don't want to play. Fine, let him go. The military, they do the same thing. Oh, okay, you want, fine. Out of 15, get him up out of here. But when it comes to the body of Christ, we're supposed to love everybody. Yes, I'm supposed to love you. If I love you, then I'll tell you the truth in love. I'll speak the truth in love. I won't allow you to harm the body. You know that I like the fact that they use the analogy of the body. I understand a little bit about the body. Do you know that the body has a defense mechanism to ward off things that would harm the body? I'm wondering, where is the defense for the body? Do we have any white blood cells? Do we have any platelets to stop the hemorrhaging? The body of Christ as a whole is bleeding. We need brothers, men, to be trained and equipped to serve. We need every member of the body functioning, doing its part. This is the Ephesians 4 congregation that we've been talking about. This is the respect that each and every member is to have for the calling of God to become this Ephesians 4 congregation. It's not my vision. It's not Brother Hubbard's vision. This is a vision that was cast down. It was cast by God because it was put in His Word, in His Bible. If He didn't want us to be this way, He would not have put it in there. Put on the new man. It's only when you put on the new man that you're able to have new stuff. This is the core value of Jesus. This is the core value we've been working on. It's about respecting the call that God has placed. and alive. And believe me, whether it's Christian, sinner, and light, God is calling. God is calling each and every one of us. If you're outside the body, God is calling you to repent. He's calling you to salvation. He's calling you to be transformed, to be renewed, to put on this new self. If you're in the body of Christ and you find yourself that if you realize that I've been that cancer to the body, that I've been disrespecting God's call, He's calling you to repent. God is calling everyone, calling all of us. In order to respect that call, you got to hear the call first. You got to hear the call. The call is from faith. You got to hear it. You got to believe it. You got to have faith in it. This is what we have to do. This is what we have to do in order to be saved. You got to hear the gospel, Acts 15 and 7. The gospel. What is that gospel? The gospel is this. Before you were born, God chose you. And because He chose you, He allowed His Son, to die upon the cross for you, to give you an opportunity to answer His prayer, so that you wouldn't be cut off. The gospel is the death, the burial, the resurrection of Jesus Christ for your sins and for mine. He chose you, handpicked you. He knew you before you even born. You got to hear that. You got to believe it. You got to believe it. Not just say you believe it. You have to believe it. Do you believe that Christ died for you? Do you believe that He rose? Then you have to repent. You have to repent. Respect for the call of God, again, calls you to respond. Calls you to do something. Here's the verb. Here's the verb. Here's the action. Repent. Repent. Not just saying I'm sorry. It's about change. So you turned around. You headed the wrong way. You realize now that you're heading the wrong way. You've heard the warning. You realize now that you're heading the wrong way. But something happens when the call goes forward. It's called pride. Pride steps in and says, nah, you're all right. You're good. Just hold on. Fear says, I don't want nobody knowing my business. But if you respect the call, it requires an action. You repent. You turn away from your error. You turn away from your sin, and you turn to Christ. Then you must confess Christ before others. Confess. This is the part that the world has no problem. Oh, I confess. I confess. Yeah, I love Jesus. But this confession is not so much a confession of the mouth, it is one of the heart. Confession of the heart. And then you obey the gospel. You obey this gospel. You obey this gospel by being baptized, by being buried in a watery grave, by dying to your sin and being buried in a watery grave, and then being raised to walk in the newness of life, just as Christ is raised. This newness of life, this new self, this new relationship, this new way of thinking, this new understanding. And it doesn't stop you. Then you gotta continue again to act, continue, act and continue. You live faith, you move forward, you seek Him, you seek His will. You're sensitive now to His call. You realize that now He has a purpose for you. He has now placed you in the body. Baptism places you in the body. He places you in this body, has joined you and knitted you together. And now you have a responsibility to do something, to supply that which He has given you to supply to the body. And live and be faithful to that. This is the call. This is the call of God. You now have a choice. Will you respect this call? Or will you just decide now?